Hi, welcome to an online student orientation for the online program. We're going to go through a few things today, including our expectations, which are you need to be working as an online student minimum of 5 hours per week. That's working on your online class 1 hour per day. Doesn't seem like a lot of time, so that should be doable for most people. Best practice is to set aside some time each day that you're strictly going to be working online and making sure that you're in the program looking at the content and not playing on the internet. You can go no more than 10 days between logins, and it's not just logging in, it's actually logging in and doing work. So if you go more than 10 days without logging in, you're at risk for withdrawing yourself from the online program. You need to turn in a unit of work every week. It takes the average student about 10 hours to complete a unit of work. It doesn't matter if it's math, Spanish, advanced placement, biology, what content you're taking. It takes about 10 hours per unit. So if you need to complete a unit of work every week, you really need to be spending 2 hours per day to complete that unit. So consequences for failing to meet these expectations: you're going to be unenrolled from the online program. I mean, that's the largest consequence we have. You'll lose your spot in the program, and if you want back in at a later time, then we will have to, if there's a waiting list, you'll have to wait, which I'm sure you do not want to do. So what happens if you're in the program and you need help? Well, first you should contact your online facilitator. They're your teacher in the course room. They're available several ways, and we're going to go through all the ways you can contact them in a little bit. So they're your first point of contact. Second, you can contact myself. I'm Christine Cass, the online program supervisor, and I'm available at either of these email addresses depending on if you're an OFL student or an OFY student. And there's my phone number. So you can pause this video to write down that information. If you call me, please leave a message and state what you're calling for and make it very clear what you need. I can be texted at that number as well, so feel free to send me a text message. I tend to respond to those a little bit quicker because they're easier, they just appear and I can take care of them. I'm available all the time, so online facilitators are available during the workday and some check in the evenings. Online facilitators have 24 hours to get back to you. I try to turn around time in less than 12 hours, so even on weekends I'm available to support you if you need some help. If you're having technical difficulty, this is not with the content, this is like your computer connecting to Apex or Apex not loading properly, then you can call Apex support. The number is here on the screen. They will ask you for your ID, your login ID. You give that to them and then they'll support you along the way. So units. Each unit of work is just like a unit that you're used to turning into your teacher. Units are composed of study sheets, so think of that as like your student activity workbook. Each online class is broken down into 5 units. So some online classes have, like if you look at Apex, they'll have 7 units of instruction. Well, we've turned it into 5 units to turn into your teacher, so it's 5 packets of work. You should always refer to the whiteboard to determine which assignments are covered for that particular unit. So for example, Spanish is only 3 units long, but we have to convert it into 5 units, so parts of Apex units are divided up. So you need to just pay attention to your whiteboard so you know how much work you're turning in. You can print all the study sheets yourself from any student computer at the center. You find the computer little icon or my computer and you double click on that. You choose the O drive on the computer, O for online. You find your class and the semester that you want, and then you choose the unit. You can open it, it's a PDF file, and you can print it to a student printer. So you don't have to print your study sheets at home. Your study sheets print out to make up a unit of work. Study sheets need to be completed as you view the work online. Don't do all the study sheets by yourself and then go online and try to take all the quizzes. You need to do them together, so as you're going through the content, you're answering the questions on the study sheet. All the answers to the study sheets are available in the online program, and I'll show you where to find answers in just a minute. So there are some special classes. Spanish requires spoken and written assignments. So for the spoken assignments, you need to work with your facilitator to arrange a time to meet with them to do the spoken assignments. And also, for Spanish, you really need to pay attention to the whiteboards because 3 APEX units becomes 5 OFL or OFY units. Another special class is biology. There are labs to biology. However, you do not physically do the labs, so you do not require additional materials. The labs require you to read about the lab online in the APEX course room and then complete lab worksheets, which are printed separately from the units, and they're also available on the O drive. So you print out these lab sheets, and what you're reading online you're transferring to the lab sheet, and you're answering questions. You don't physically do the experiment. So we're going to go on a tour of Apex Learning. We're going to go to the website apexvs.com and we're going to log in. So we're going to open Internet Explorer and go to apexvs.com. We're going to type in our username, and that username is provided to you by your teacher, and your password, which is, if it's the first time you've logged in, you'll be given a default password. However, this is the first time we're logging in, so this is a habit. You just type in your username, your password, and you want to sign in. If this is the first time you run Apex on your computer, you need to come over here to the right at the very beginning and click on Run System Checkup. Running the system checkup makes sure that your system meets the Apex requirements. If you get a bunch of error messages here, you can always call Apex and they'll help walk you through the process to fix those problems. Now mine says, congratulations, my system appears to meet the technical requirements. However, the most common thing that shows up here is the pop-up blocker. You have to have pop-up blocker turned off. So I want to show you how to do that just in case it shows up on your computer. So I'm going to close this window. And in Internet Explorer, to turn off pop-up blocker, I go to Tools and Pop-up Blocker. And then there's an option here, Turn Off. Now, you can change the blocker settings for your computer and maybe say allow from the site. However, the course content is not specifically at this web address. So you should just turn it off for the sake of running your Apex program. And there are no spam type pop-ups in Apex, so you don't have to worry. Every pop-up that pops up in Apex is something very important. So that's how we turn off pop-ups. Now we type in your username and your password, and then you click sign in. I need to change my password, and that's something you need to do as well. You need to pick a password that you can remember. Now if you pick a password and you do forget it, then you can always ask your teacher to reset it, or in just a moment it'll ask us for some questions and we can fill in those. So I'm going to click submit. Oh, and my 2 passwords don't match. It's a smart system. And I'm going to try it again. Alright, now it wants me to verify my email address. Your email address is going to be an email address that we've provided for you. It'll either have an ofl-op.com or an ofy-op.com. If you want to change it, you can change it right here to your own personal email. At that point in time, the school is not liable for anything that you receive, send, or otherwise decide to do with that email. So just keep in mind that the email we provide to you is provided because it's a very secure lockdown system. But if you want to change, feel free. I'm just going to click Remind Me Later. Now it asks for a couple of security questions. This allows you to reset your password should you forget. So you can select your questions, you can type in your answers, or you can say Remind Me Later. This is your course room window when it opens. There's a few things to note about this course room. In the upper right hand corner it should have your name. There's a support icon to give you the number for support if you need it. My Profile allows you to change things such as your password, such as, I'll just open it, your email address. It allows you to see things in here to be able to change if you don't like things. So Over here to the right are the announcements. You should always check your announcements every time you log in because your teachers, your facilitators will post announcements. The system administrator might post announcements. It's also where Apex lets us know if the system's going to be down. So they give a 2-week minimum notice of saying the system will be turned off for maintenance. You need to pay attention to these announcements so that way you can see that. Along the top we have the home. This is where you find your classroom. Right now the student I'm logged in as, the test student, has 2 classrooms, and we're going to go into one shortly. Next is the message tab. This is where you can send your teacher a message, and to do that, this is like what you would do if you needed help or a reset. You click new message. You would select a teacher from the drop down box. Now normally you should select the facilitator that is in your course room, and you should always send them a message first. However, if the facilitator for your course is unavailable, maybe it's a weekend, you send them a message, they don't get back to you, you can always choose myself, Christine Cassets, and type in your subject, whatever your message is, of the subject of your message, type in a message and then click send. That email will come to me and I'll check it and I'll help you out. But you should always try your facilitator first, just to make sure that they're on the same page as I am. Next, you'll see a calendar. Your facilitator will choose due dates for your courses. When they choose due dates, different assignments are going to show up in your calendar. Now for this test student, I mean, it just tells you the student is a fake student, and there is not a calendar set up for these courses yet, so there are no due dates. But you should always check your calendar to help you stay on track and make sure that you're meeting the minimum requirements of turning in a unit every week. In the gradebook, you can see how you're doing. And right now we can't see how we're doing because we haven't done any work. So no work, no gradebook. Discussions, we can see what discussions are going on. Reports, this is a little different. You're only going to see the student progress for you because this student is also logged in as a teacher somewhere. So you would only see student progress, and that's how you can check to see how you're doing in a course. Alright, and you won't have a students tab either. You may not have a gradebook tab. Let's go home, and all our classrooms, we're going to click on Algebra 1, and we're going to click on Algebra 1 Core, and it's going to open our course room. And it has music, so make sure you turn the music on or off. A few things to note about your course room. Yours is going to appear slightly different. The test student has a lot of access to various things. So yours is only going to show Review of Introductory Algebra 1.1 Integers and Operations. To get 1.2 to show, we're going to have to complete everything in 1.1. So if I click on 1.1, I get 1.1.1 Study. This is a study activity. That means there's a study sheet that goes with it. The next one, 1.1.2, is a checkup, practice problems. I'm going to have another study sheet in my packet to go with that. Then I have 2 quizzes here. And when I look at this, if I were logged in as an authentic student, for lack of a better term, I would only see quiz 1.1.3. And I would have to pass that quiz with at least a 70% before I would see 1.1.4. So I'm going to click on Study, and we'll walk through this together. So you can click here to get your study sheet up in the upper right hand corner, and there's a video to watch on this page. So there's a few things. I'm going to click here for the study sheet, but you'll have these in your unit. I just want to show you something on the study sheet. For one, this test student, since they're also a teacher, it shows up as show answers. You should not have that available to you. See how this says page 2? It says a collection of items is a blank. Counting numbers are also called blank integers. If I come back to my class, I would read through all of this, and if reading is not your thing, you can click this little play button after English and it'll play it for you. You don't have to read it. You should watch all the videos because the videos are very important to instruction. At the bottom of your screen, you might have to scroll to see this. Make sure you're using the arrows to go through.